There's a special night in the lives of all of us. A night to be beautiful, to be desirable. A night we can break all the rules and make our own. Prom night. Everyone at Hamilton High is getting ready for prom night. It's a day of rehearsals, arrangements, final preparations, and last-minute phone calls.
Nick?
Wendy, do you still like to play games?
They're too old for games, but someone still wants to play.
What?
Callie, it's been a long time. Tonight, it's my turn. Everything is on.
Tonight, someone has come to the prom alone. Someone who watches in the silent corridors.
Kelly.
Someone who waits until no one can help. Prom night. If you're not back by midnight, you won't be coming home.
Welcome to Dorking Out. My name is Sonia Mansfield, and it's prom night. No more feeling uptight. Joining me is my podcasting sister from another mister and the co-host of Dorking Out, Margo D. Hello, my friend.
Killer, killer, killer.
Bad kids. We are.
Oh, is that what they say?
No, they. No, they do.
They
They're bad. They're bad kids, and we are dorking out about 1980s prom night, the 80s one, not the remake, which I haven't even seen. This is directed by Paul Lynch, screenplay by William Gray, and it stars Leslie Nielsen. He has top billing, but he's not really the star. But he's in it for sure. His last serious role before because Airplane literally came out the same month, and then he went on a whole other thing. Someone named Jamie Lee Curtis.
I've heard of her.
Heard of her. She looks beautiful in this movie, by the way. Gorgeous. Yeah. Casey Stevens. Eddie Benton, who then changed her name to Anne-Marie Martin. That's how I knew her, because she was on soap operas and sitcoms.
Oh, okay. Who does she play?
She plays Wendy, the really bitchy one that wants to get Nick back the whole movie.
She's my favorite.
Yeah, that's Anne-Marie Martin. And she was on the TV show Sledgehammer. Did you ever watch Sledgehammer?
Oh, that's where she's from. Yes.
But she also did, I forget what soap, but she was on a soap opera. We also have Michael Tuff, Mary Beth Rubins, Joy Thompson. We are going to be spoiling this 44-year-old movie. So if you don't want to know who the killer is, then you should, maybe go watch it and you could come back. Okay. So I suspect you didn't see this in the theater. I know I didn't.
No. My mom didn't take us.
No, we would have been 9 years old. I don't think we were very interested in seeing Prom Night. When did you first see it? Or is this the first watch?
I can't remember the first time I saw this movie. And I don't know if it was on TV or if we rented it. But it's something I definitely wanted to see it. It's just I was way too young.
Yeah.
Because those commercials were great.
Yes, exactly. And I didn't see it until just a couple of years ago. I was over at a friend's house and we were having scary movie night. And I was like, could we watch Prom Night? And everyone was like, sure. So we watched that and I was like, this movie's bananas. And it became something that I've revisited I think last year and then again this year for the show, because I just think it's a fucking bananas movie. And I kind of like that it's a slasher in a high school that's on prom night, but also it's got a lot of disco in it. And then there's a whole other side storyline that means absolutely nothing and goes absolutely nowhere. And they clearly just added it to make the movie a little longer, I guess.
They also did that thing where they hired two people that look exactly alike
Yes.
and then have them stand next to each other, and it's goofy. It just looks it. Anyway, continue.
Yes, this movie is goofy. It's the way to describe it. So it opens in 1974, and there's a bunch of little kids. They're like 10 or 11, whatever. And they're running around this old abandoned house, like you do.
Like
And
you do.
And they're playing a really fucked up version of hide and seek where, like, I guess someone's a killer and the rest of them are hiding from the serial killer. And a younger girl she kind of joins their thing, and they bully her into like,
Because she has a stutter, I think.
Yes.
She's also in. Sorry, I'm gonna
No, go ahead. No,
the little girl there is also in A Christmas Carol, an American Christmas Carol, the one that I watch every year. That's with the Fonz. Yeah. So I was like, oh my god, that girl! She's from American Christmas Carol, and it's so freaking sad because these assholes just terrorize this poor girl, and then she falls out a window, for Christ's sakes.
Yes,
and then they just go, well. We don't want to get in trouble. So they just take off and leave her.
Yeah, they just leave her.
Fuck all of them. I don't care if they're children.
No, it's really fucking terrible.
They're assholes.
They're huge assholes.
Yeah.
They're like, they bully her. She falls out a window. Wendy, by the way, the youngest Wendy, she's the biggest bully of them all. And anyway, she falls out the window. She dies. Somebody witnesses this, but we don't see who it is. And then we go like, 6 years later or whatever, and they're all in high school now, and we meet Jamie Lee Curtis. It turns out this was her younger sister, and then the girl who died is named Robin, and she has a twin brother named Alex, and then her older sister is Kim, and that's Jamie Lee Curtis, who, again, she looks so beautiful. This is after Halloween, so I'm kind of surprised that this is what Jamie Lee Curtis was doing. I in my head, she's a huge star after Halloween, but I don't think that happened.
No, it's not until Trading Places that she really kind of becomes a movie star. I think she had to work like everybody else. And I think she probably wanted to not be in this movie, I would guess. I think maybe she was hoping to do something different because she's too old for the part. I mean, let's be clear. These are like 25-year-olds that are, and she's not even 25, but they don't look like teenagers. It's one of those things.
None of them. They all look like full ass grown adults. Like later at the prom, there's like a man with a full beard, like dancing on the, and I was like, that is not a high school senior. Like, the movie is filled with them.
And that's okay. I mean, Carrie is the same thing in Grease. Like you have this, but it is just kind of silly.
It's so silly. And Christine is also one. I rewatched Christine recently with my son, and that one has I was like, that man is like 35 years old. And he's playing a high school student.
Caveman John Travolta.
Yes. Oh my God. And so there's a character in this movie, and his name is Lou. And he's just referred to as Caveman Lou in all my notes. Like, he's got a unibrow.
It's the same fucking character, y'all.
It is. And he's like chewing gum like he's never chewed gum before. He's like,
he reminds me of Chaka from Land of the Lost. Like, remember there was that little feral wolf boy or whatever he was that like followed out Will and Holly.
I'm sure the actor
Chaka run.
I'm sure the actor is a lovely person.
Oh yeah, we're not making fun of him. It's the script that's terrible. I mean, it's just, and it's also 1980 is not exactly a great year for fashion, or anything style wise.
No, but he in particular is a terrible character. Like, he's so terrible. So again, we're in the modern day, or not modern day, sorry, it's 1980. And Jamie Lee Curtis and her brother, they're going to school. Leslie Nielsen is their dad, and he's the principal. So they're all like walking in together, and there's definitely a creepy gardener walking around the school. I think we're supposed to think that maybe he's going to be the killer.
And he was a rapist, I think, but not anymore.
But not anymore. He's reformed, y'all. Let's let him work at the school. It's fine. It's fine.
With young girls, you know, being raised under the patriarchy to not be rude or ever defend themselves.
It's totally fine. So the kids who just pushed that girl, not pushed, but like teased her until she fell out a window. They
fucking caused it, Sonia. Let's be clear.
100%. I just didn't want to say they pushed, but like they 100% are responsible. All of them are grown up. Nobody knows that they were involved. Like they're like best friends with Jamie Lee Curtis's character. So they're responsible for her sister's death. But none of them
never comes up.
Yeah, they never tell her. She's like dating the boy who was there. Nick is also responsible. And he's like, I love you. And I was like, not enough to tell her the truth, though, obviously.
Oh,
like,
he almost did, Sonia, for like a half a second.
Yeah, he's a good guy, you guys. He's a good guy. I mean, he is responsible for her sister's death, but he's really cute and he's a good dancer. So you have to let some shit slide. It's really hard to date. So you got to let it go. So Kelly, Jude, Wendy, these are the three girls who are involved. They all get like obscene phone calls.
That's another thing.
Yeah.
Where, Jesus, just don't answer the fucking phone, people. This is for me. It was when a stranger calls. But They had all these movies, and it was like young women like answering the phone, and some perverts on the other line going, and they're just like, "Hello, who is this?
Who is this?"
And I'm like, what are you doing?
They're all getting obscene phone calls, and they're all getting like their pictures taped up in their locker, like torn out of the yearbook with like broken mirror pieces on it. And they're like, that's weird. None of them tell each other about it. And none of them piece it together like, maybe it's because we killed that girl like 6 years ago.
There's one scene where Jamie Lee Curtis is like going to, she's running around like her blouse is open, because they were just kind of out of the shower, they out of the gym anyway. But like her locker is the only one that's unlocked. If you look at her scene, all the other ones have locks on their lockers, not hers. I'm like, that's your problem.
Yes.
What are we doing? What are we even doing here?
No one in this movie is particularly smart. Like, and it's one of the things I like about it. So all of this is going on, and they establish these characters. So like the girl with the dark hair that's curly, her name is Jude. Jude's walking to school, minding her business, and like another kid,
creepiest guy in a van, in a fucking van,
and
that doesn't even have side windows.
No,
like it's covered up.
The description of like, if you were like, I'm gonna look in the dictionary under like child molester van, it would be a picture of this van, and he's like, want to ride to school? And she's like, yeah, I don't have a date for the prom, so okay. Like,
just a ride to the school, right?
Right, wink. And his name is Seymour, but he's going by Slick, and he's clearly a nerd who's trying too hard. And she's like, I need a date for the prom so bad. So she's willing to do this, apparently. And then Wendy, that's Anna, I'm sorry, what's her name again? Anna Marie Martin, who, again, she's beautiful. Yeah. She's the one who used to go out with Nick, and he broke up with her, and she's not taking no for an answer. But Nick is all into Jamie Lee Curtis, and they're like prom king and queen, and he's like in love with her and all this. Like, sure, whatever. But not enough to tell her that he's responsible for her sister's
death. They aged a lot in the 4 years, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. They all went through a growth spurt.
With just different faces, different bodies, yeah.
Well, it's the hormones in the meat, It's
gotta be. Yeah.
It's gotta be what it is. And we also meet Kelly, who is the like virginal girl who has a really horny boyfriend. Like the dude just won't stop trying to like stick it in. Like even in the hallway. Like he can't help himself. It's so and we meet Nick, and Nick is got the like curly blonde hair. He looks just like Jamie Lee Curtis's brother.
It drove me fucking crazy. They both got perms and the same hair, and they wear like the same like preppy-ish outfits with the sweater wrapped around the neck and the. Oh my God.
I'm like, why are you dating?
Who casted this thing? She's a huge mistake.
She's dating a boy who looks just like her brother.
It's creepy.
It's super creepy. But we do get it established that he's a good dancer because his dad's like, for a guy who's so fast on the disco floor, you sure are slow. I'm like, ugh. And then, so we're meeting all of them. And then for no reason, we're getting like flashbacks of like a burning car and a cop who's like, I think this is the guy who's responsible for the girl that died who fell out the window. And it turns out he's like an escaped mental patient, and just like Michael Myers, and a burn victim. And this plot goes nowhere.
No,
nowhere. Nowhere. And it never connects to the rest of the movie. It has what's the case?
It's terrible cops. It's terrible policing. The Keystone Cops.
Yes. And it has nothing to do with anything. So it just every once in a while we cut from these grown ass adults pretending to be teenagers back to like cops that have nothing to do with anything. And then they're like at lunch or something. And here comes like old caveman Lou with his like unibrow and all that. And he like fully is forcing himself on Jamie Lee Curtis, like grabbing her ass, like forcing kisses on her. It's really fucking gross.
He's so gross.
He's so gross. And so Jamie Lee Curtis, at first I was like, oh, her boyfriend's there to defend her. No, that's her brother. That's her brother. There to defend her. He like jumps in and like beats him up. No one else in the school does anything. They're all just standing around watching this man harass this woman and then watching.
And her friend is just rolling her eyes.
Yeah, like
oh, it's Caveman Lou again.
Yeah, what are you gonna
all
do?
Handsy with his busy hands.
Yeah, it's really fucking offensive.
Disturbing.
So the brother and Caveman Lou get sent to the principal's office. Off to the principal's office they go. And it's Leslie Nielsen. Of course, he's going to tell like Caveman Lou, you're fucking suspended. Get the fuck out of here. And tells his son, like, go to the nurse, son. Like, yes, he totally favors his son. He doesn't give a fuck. Also, his son did
the right thing.
Yeah, he was sticking up for her. So he's
yeah.
But Caveman Lou's all bent out of shape because he probably took his education really seriously, and now he's suspended. So that's not going to look good.
He can't go to the prom, Sonia.
Yeah, right. It's important.
He shouldn't be able to anyway. I'm sorry. Those are different rules. Those are Carrie rules.
Yes, exactly. So Wendy, who's so mad about Nick going out with Jamie Lee Curtis, she decides that she's going to take Caveman Lou to the prom, and they're going to pull some sort of prank. And
I'm sorry. What before that, Wendy, when she's getting ready at her house, first of all, she's wearing an outfit that I'm like, oh my God, she's so beautiful. She's got like the side ponytail,
yes,
and the white pants, like the outfit's just so great. But she's walking out, and I thought that's her mother or her grandmother or a maid. But the person like, hey, are you going to be here for dinner tonight? She goes, how the hell should I know? She takes off for school.
She's such a bitch to her.
She's such a C word. I was laughing so hard.
I assume this is her mother, but she's dressed like a maid.
Right.
And also she's smoking, and she's like, how the hell should I know?
I know. And then gets in her Porsche or whatever she has, her sports car. And it just takes, I love her. She's so great. I wasn't supposed to. I don't. She's not our hero, is she?
You know what? She is such a cunt. But when the serial killer gets loose and he's going around, Wendy puts up a fight for a long time.
Oh yeah, Wendy has skills.
Like, she's not a dummy. She's a bitch, but she's not dumb, I wouldn't say. So she recruits Lou to like be her date for the prom, and they're gonna pull a prank because we want to get some of that sweet Carrie money here,
right?
In our movie. And I guess their prank is that he's just gonna beat up Nick and take his place as prom king. And I'm like, yeah, that'll work. Like, Jamie Lee Curtis will go out with you now. It'll be fine.
They're gonna really stick to Jamie Lee Curtis by not having her boyfriend be the prom king and just having this douchebag, which she could just walk away.
Yeah, I don't. And he's like, I'm gonna have Kim all to myself. I'm like,
did they have I'm sorry, question. Did you go to your proms?
I was gonna ask you the same thing. I went to my senior prom.
I went to my junior prom.
Yeah, I went with like I couldn't get like a date. I went with like a friend of the family.
Yeah, same.
I didn't really have a good time.
Yeah, me neither.
I think like 2 years later, so I would have been 19. I went to a coworker's prom with him. Like he was like, I really need a date. We worked at the movie theater together. And he's like, will you be my date? And I was like, totes. So I went to his. I had way more fun at his prom than I did at mine.
I've been to other people's proms and I had the same thing. Like I had a really good time because there was no pressure. I didn't know anybody and I was the unknown. So I could just do whatever I wanted. But yeah, my own prom, it was okay, but it wasn't. I mean, but I was going to ask you, did they have a king and queen? Do you remember that?
Yeah, we did have a king and queen. I don't remember it being like announced there, but there was, I feel like maybe it happened before, but they definitely had like a dance where like they dance like it's like their fucking wedding or something.
We had it was Drew and Lynn. They were twins, their brother and sister. And every year at the dances, homecoming or whatever, they got voted because they were super popular. I know. They were super like blonde, but not like blonde and blue, like in that kind of scary way. You know what I mean? Like just very Teutonic. And it was, and they won every year. And every year they would cry with like, oh my God, really? And I know. And it was, I had like 500 in my senior year class.
I had a really big class too.
Yeah. So it was like, who is that? I mean, I didn't hang out with these people.
I love that they were surprised.
Oh, but every year they played surprise and she would cry. Like she would blubber cry. And then all their friends would be like, isn't that amazing? And like a bunch was like, no, that's fucking weird. And why do you own everything in this stupid town? Because from what I understand, I didn't grow up there, but other kids did. They're like, yeah, Lynn and Drew, like the whole time. RHS, Ridgewood High School, please answer this for me.
That's super weird that it's brother and sister.
Oh yeah. I tell that to people and they're like, ew, that sounds gross.
That sounds weird to me. Like,
is it weird to y'all? Let us know. We'll give you the call outs later. Yeah.
Send us an email or DM or tweet to us or whatever and let us know if that's happened at your school, because I think that's super weird. We also had the same people won like every year.
Right. You have your core popular, people.
Yeah, it was the same. Did your prom have a theme?
I for the junior prom, which I did go to, it was I'll Be There by the Jacksons. And I don't know why, because it was before Mariah Carey had a hit with it. I don't know. And then it was Good Lovin' by the Rascals the next year, where I was like, what is going on? I don't know.
You know what? So my senior year of high school, like, was the year that, like, I want to say like Dirty Dancing came out and all this like 50s
same.
and 60s music was cool again.
Also the Big Chill. Like the Big Chill was a movie that had a 60s soundtrack and they had two records from it.
Right.
And so I think that was it. I think like that music, like Motown in the mid 80s had this huge resurgence. Like Hall & Oates had a single and So anyway, I'm writing a book about Carrie, y'all. And when I interview people, I'm asking everyone, did you go to your prom? What was the theme? And either they have no idea or they can vividly recall everything. It's very funny.
Senior prom theme was the song If You Leave by OMD, even though the song had come out years earlier.
Good Lovin', that's from the 60s.
I was like, it was very strange. And but I was like, okay.
But that's from Pretty in Pink though, right? That was the last song in Pretty in Pink. So that makes sense.
And
sorry, olds are talking right now.
No. But I see like other people, like they have these like themes where it's like we had like a Gatsby theme, or it's like Under the Water theme, or it's this kind of thing. Like we didn't have those kind of themes. We had like theme songs is what we had, at least at mine. But this prom, I would love to go to this prom. I mean, I don't want to get killed.
But they really did it up.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want to get killed, but like they've got a full-on disco for their prom. It's got the light-up disco floor.
Yeah.
And they couldn't get rights to like real disco hits, so their like music guy like whipped up some stuff, and I was like, it sounds very authentic. It sounds like it's like,
It
prom
sounds like
night.
Born to Be Alive. Come
Yes,
on.
it does.
Born to Be Alive. Born to
Totally
Be
does.
Alive. How did they got away with that? Because that is totally what they
But it's
did.
like prom night. Everything's gonna be all right.
All right.
No one's
I
gonna
love
be
it when
uptight.
Jamie Lee Curtis does the arms thing with
Oh
the
my
other
God.
guy. Oh my God. It's like Shields and Yarnell, but like disco. That's another super old reference. I'm sorry. We're losing everybody.
No, it's so good though, because then Wendy shows up with old caveman Lou, and Jamie Lee Curtis is like, let's show them what we can do. And they like get out on the dance floor and everyone just clears, and like her and Nick do their like choreographed dance. And I was like, she's a good dancer.
She's good. Yeah, she's got some moves.
Yeah, we saw her moves in Perfect, obviously, but like I didn't know she was like this good of a dancer. And well, Nick does his best to keep up.
She supposedly for years was trying to be on Dancing with the Stars. I don't know if she ever got there. I'm not an avid follower.
I don't think she has, but if she got on, I would watch.
I would watch it for her. Yeah, I think, but it was like a couple of years before she got her Oscar. She probably wouldn't do it now. But she used to, I remember reading this. She would go, like every year, she would go and be in the audience because she was hoping they would ask her.
Oh,
I know. Ask her. She's great.
What is wrong with you people?
I'll actually watch it if you have Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, you're going to have that woman that had to wear an ankle bracelet, but you don't, a house like
who got pissed off and left.
Yeah, I forget her name. What's her face? The criminal.
Whatever.
But I was like, you don't get Jamie Lee Curtis? She's just sitting right there. That's weird. But yeah, they have their like big disco dancing moment. There's also a scene of her dancing with Leslie Nielsen that's like hilarious. I was like, is that really how you dance with your dad? But
I felt the same thing.
It's super weird.
My dad did the thing, by the way, where he claps his hands in front of him and then he hops one foot then the other. That was my dad dancing.
Oh, like
it was like the Teletubbies, like the way they pop around. My dad would clap his hands.
Oh, I acknowledge this fully. I'm a terrible dancer. Like I do my very best, and I don't know if this helps or not, but I have a good time. I'm having a blast out there, but I don't. I'm not a good dancer. Like I was never.
But that's not. You just got to move. That's all.
Yeah. I mean, I'm having a good time while I do. My mom, by the way, she's a pretty good dancer. My sister, great dancer. Even my asshole brother can like keep the beat. And I was like, what is wrong with me? When I dance in my chair, I look great. And then when I stand up, it's like, oh, everything's wrong. I don't know what's going on here. But anyway, I don't know why you want to do sexy dance moves with your dad, but sure, you do you, Jamie Lee Curtis. That's fine. And now the murders start happening. So first first is Wendy, virginal sweet Wendy. She's not sweet because she helped kill that girl, but
yeah,
she's got a boyfriend who's basically trying to pressure her to have sex, and they're like in the locker room.
It's Jeff Wincott, right?
Yeah.
Is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah. His brother is Michael Wincott, who he's in a lot of he was the bad guy in The Crow. He's in a million things.
You would
he
know
looks
him
just like him. Yeah.
So they're making out. He's really pushing hard. Like at one point, Foley tries to push her head into his crotch. It's pretty aggressive. And she's like, I can't do this. And then
are they in the locker room when this happens?
Yes, they're in like
and they're on those little benches that are 6 inches wide, and he's just like taking her dress off. Like, come on, let's do it here.
Yeah,
and she's like, no, I don't want this.
Romantic. Like,
and he gets really pissed at her, and he doesn't get killed, right?
No,
he should have.
I know,
was really rude. Yeah,
I thought the same thing. Like, I wrote it in my notes. I'm like,
he's a date rapist. Yeah.
He is like, he's like, I know plenty who will, fuck me. Basically, he rips off his boutonniere, throws it down. He's really shitty. And then Wendy gets killed. She doesn't put up much of a fight.
Wendy's kind of a sad sack.
She is kind of a sad sack. And then we get Jude and Slick, and they're in his van. The van is a rockin'.
Oh God. So Wendy's the popular one, right? Lisa. okay, so Wendy is in a gorgeous red dress.
Yeah, hot stuff
I
coming through.
Hot stuff, man. She looks amazing. And then she's back to yelling at her mother or her maid or her nana. I don't know who that is, but she's back to be like smoking a cigarette.
The dude, Caveman Lou shows up and he's like, honk, honk. Like he doesn't even come to the door because he's a total creep. And her mom or whatever is like, who's that? And she's like, it's my date.
Bye. Got a date tonight. She gets in the car. He has two loser friends in the back seat.
Yeah, he's not.
I'm on my couch. I yell at the screen, do not get in that fucking car. Because that's you. God knows what's going to happen to you. And then I see a trash can in the shot. I'm like, they're going to run over that trash can. And by golly, do they fucking run over it.
No, because he does everything. He's the worst. That dude is the worst. Everything he does, he's the fucking worst. And so he picks her up and he's like, "Well, I got my suit in the trunk." You know, he's just so shitty. And again, she looks amazing. Like
she's way above him. Like he's reaching to be good enough for her.
Yeah. And he's still like, can't wait to like punch out.
And he's just an entitled asshole.
Yeah. Can't wait to punch out the prom king and then I'll wear the crown. And Jamie Lee Curtis, won't notice the difference? Or will be like, oh, I super love that you beat up my boyfriend. Can't wait to make out with you. Like, I want to have your little unibrow caveman babies.
What is her plan? Like, she's going to get this guy to beat up a guy she wants?
Yeah. That's the plan. And
to ruin his moment with her,
that'll do it. That should fix everything.
He'll totally want you when that's over. Like what? Okay,
yeah. Plan is very, very flawed. So we have Jude and Slick doing it in the van, and like
Slick gets lucky.
Slick gets lucky, and here's the thing: like Slick actually tries to defend her. Like,
no, Slick is actually a decent human.
It turns out he might be a decent human. Like,
we'll never know. Because sad to say, Slick doesn't make it.
Yeah,
but he scores with her, and she seems to really like him.
And he asks her, like, was it good for you or whatever? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, me too. And they both reveal it was like their first times or what, but for both of them. And like,
which I was happy for them for that 1 second. I'm like, oh, that's nice. You're going to be dead soon, but you went out with a bang, not a whimper.
Exactly. Unlike Wendy. Wah, wah. So then the killer shows up and Slick does try to defend her. He tries to stick up for her.
Yeah, the killer. So they get out of the van. They're by the ocean, like they're by the edge of the ocean, right? And there's a drop, and I'm like, they're totally gonna fucking crash. But you don't know that yet. They're getting high in the van. It's very 70s. Like they're getting high in a van and having sex in the back. And then she's like, let's go to the dunes. He's like, okay. And they go to the dunes and they hear something. And he wisely says, we need to get the fuck out of here. Let's go back
to the van.
Let's go back to the van. She's like, oh, okay. They go back to the van. And there is someone dressed in all black. And I thought it was somebody else. I was hoping it was going to be somebody else to be the killer, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
So the killer jumps on top of the van, jumps into the van, is hanging out of the side of the van. Like Slick really tries.
He really tries. And the killer does kill Jude. And then eventually, like, Slick drives his child molester van off the cliff, which it then explodes before it even hits anything. It explodes like midair.
Yeah. Hitting nothing, it just explodes. And then they're both just gone.
Yeah. And again, they're at the prom. Nobody hears anything or nah. Whatever.
No, that's it. So then they go back and we'll go back and it's the prom. And Jamie Lee Curtis is, they've been rehearsing. They set this up in the movie.
Yeah.
You see, they're going to have crowns on their heads and they're going to be on opposite sides of the stage.
Yes.
Now, see if you can keep up with this.
Okay.
They then will have their names announced and then they will walk to the center walk. I know.
Super complicated.
We had to rehearse this. Like, seriously?
So complicated. So before all this happens, the killer, like, finds Wendy in a bathroom, and Wendy, she gets away and she makes a run for it, but instead of running,
fights, man. She's going for it. Yeah.
But instead of running towards the prom where maybe she could be safe with like other people, she runs as far away from other humans as
She's going
possible.
into science rooms with laboratories and all this other crap. I'm like, no. If you're going to do that, get in a closet and like hide.
Yes.
But I'm like, get out of the building or go back to where all the people were and then turn on the fire. Why does anybody hit the fire alarm?
No, you can't do things like that. So she's runs as far away from all the people she possibly can. And like she hides in a car in the auto shop. And eventually he gets to her and he kills her. But she's the one who puts up the most fight for sure.
Yeah, she was the most evil one.
She was the most evil one. So
we're sad to see her go, but that's how these things go in slasher movies.
It is how they go. And then so then the evil prank is going to happen and the killer sees, well, first old caveman Lou beats up Nick and he takes his crown because this will make Jamie Lee Curtis fall in love with him. And then the killer just sees his crown and is like, that's my guy, and chops his head off.
Yeah, all of a sudden it switches to an axe. So he goes from like shards of broken mirror to a knife to
an axe.
An axe.
Yeah, he
chops his head off, and then it does that thing where the head rolls down, and then it's obviously the actor sticking his head through the floor and kind of tilting his head to the side, like, "There's my head."
Yep.
And everybody immediately goes, "Ah!" and they're running. And the one teacher's like, "Don't panic." Like, no, good time to panic.
Good time to panic.
That's the appropriate reaction. Yell, scream, get the fuck out. Yes.
And then the killer like runs out and he's trying to get at Nick, and Jamie Lee Curtis is the only one trying to save Nick. Like she's like fighting with the killer and like really like throwing punches and jumping on his back and everyone else is like, bye. Like no one's sticking around to like help or nothing. I don't know. I mean, good for them, I guess. I would also be like, bye. I would run too.
I'd get the fuck out so quickly. I kick off those heels. Yes. That's another thing that way Wendy dies, because she was in her strappy heels. Like, girl, kick that shit off. Run barefoot.
Make a run. Everyone in this movie is doing the thing that they would make fun of years later in Scream. Like,
right.
Everything they're doing in here is the reason those are the stereotype. So Jamie Lee Curtis is fighting with the killer. At some point, she gets the axe off of him and she like hits him in the head with it.
Yeah, like really hard.
Yeah.
And then that the killer is like looking up at her with like beseeching eyes. And I, for a second, was like, "Oh my God, it's the mother! It's the mother!"
Okay. The first time I saw it, I thought it was the mother. The first time I saw this, so I was like,
"Yeah,
the movie tricked me."
Yeah, which I was like, "Ooh, that's cool." And then I'm like, it should have been her and the husband,
right?
You know, just going back and forth and taking care of it. But no, it was the brother.
And for some reason, he's wearing lipstick.
He's got mascara and lipstick. He's like the JD Vance eyeliner kind of thing.
I don't understand what that, like, was he like dressing up as his sister or something? I don't know what that was. It's a weird touch.
Get pictures. He has these blonde curly locks.
Yeah.
And Jamie Lee Curtis, they gave her like blonde curly locks. So maybe, I don't know. I was disappointed when it wasn't the mother.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh.
Because if it's not one thing,
it's your mother.
They also try to set it up so that you maybe think it's the mother, or that you maybe will think it's Leslie Nielsen. Because at one point they're looking for him and they can't find him or the mother.
And that's why I thought they were in a duo, which would have been great. That's like my note.
When we never see them again.
No.
They're not even there at the end. When like it's revealed that their son is the killer, and then like Jamie Lee Curtis says the like, you know, dark mascara tear running down her face, and then ends with
he's
sort of
dead.
And he's dead. And I don't think her and Nick are gonna work out.
Yeah, I think this is a bridge too far for their relationship. Too. Yeah. So how screwed up is she gonna be?
Super screwed up. They have made sequels to this movie. I don't think any of the I think the only thing in common is it's set at that high school. There's nothing else about it. I've seen the second one. It is also very entertaining. But
is that Harrow Mary Lou Prom Night too? Yeah.
That one is more supernatural, and that one's very entertaining as well. But I think this one is so ridiculous. That's why I tend to like it just a little bit more. But I read in the notes on like IMDb that Eve Plum,
I read that too,
from the Brady Bunch, plays Jan, was supposed to, or she auditioned for Jamie Lee Curtis's role, and then when Jamie Lee Curtis expressed interest, they went with her instead. And I wrote in my notes, Jamie. Poor Eve Plum. I don't know if
she had been too old. I mean,
well, they're all too old, so
yeah, you're right. But, yeah, I felt bad. Remember that 90s band name, Eve's Plum?
Yes.
I think they're from the Bay Area.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
So, did you like the movie?
Oh yeah, I thought it was entertaining. It's on Peacock, by the way. If you have Peacock, definitely get it.
I watched it on Shudder. So if you have Shudder, it's also on there. It's on everything.
I think Tubi. I think there's like a few of them. Yeah. It's like 90 minutes. It's real quick. The dancing is sometimes great, sometimes hilarious. It doesn't make any sense. And that's the thing with it's a classic slasher movie. Like they give you a threadbare plot and just kill teenagers when they're having sex.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why I like it.
Yeah. It's great. I mean, if you go in there with that in mind.
Yes. I wrote down the other horror movies that came out in 1980. Would you like to hear it?
Of course.
Okay. So we have The Changeling.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. If y'all haven't seen that one, that's a good one. The original Friday the 13th.
I interviewed the star of that. I'm sorry, I was bringing up my list. Her name is Adrienne King, and she also was a dancer in Saturday Night Fever.
Ooh.
Yeah, she was one of the kids at the disco, and so she goes to all the conventions and stuff like that. I think she's in the first Friday the 13th movies, and she's really rad.
Well,
she's the one that lives.
Well, this one started them all.
Yeah.
Like we got a million Friday the 13th movies after that. Another horror movie that starred Jamie Lee Curtis, Terror Train.
I actually like Terror Train. I think it's silly, but it's great.
It is super silly, but it's great. I watched it last year, I think, because I was high on prom night and was like, I'm going to watch this other Jamie Lee Curtis horror. And I was like, it's another one that doesn't make any sense.
Is she in The Fog too?
She is not in The Fog.
That's Adrienne Barbeau. I know that. I thought she was in it with her mother.
Maybe I could look it up real quick for us. Let's see.
I'm curious because there's one she also did with her mother and not one of the Halloween movies. It's another one. Let's
go to The Fog.
Maybe memory serves.
Janet Leigh is in The Fog. She is in The Fog.
I knew it, y'all.
You are so smart. Well, The Fog is also on that list. Busy year for Jamie Lee Curtis.
That's a good movie too, by the way. The Fog, yeah.
We have He Knows You're Alone.
Okay.
Do you know that one?
No.
I think this is one of the original, like, the call is coming from inside the house.
I think it's a ripoff of that, but yeah.
Okay. And then Altered States.
Yeah, that's a creepy movie.
That's creepy. Dressed to Kill.
That's a movie of a Brian De Palma film.
Yes.
It's a slasher film that he does in the style of Alfred Hitchcock. And it's something you either love it or you think it's hot garbage.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say about it.
I watched it for the first time, I want to say last October. And I didn't think it was hot garbage, but I could also see why anyone watching it now would be like, that's problematic as fuck.
Yeah.
It's something. Alligator. You'll never guess what that one's about.
No.
The Watcher in the Woods.
Okay.
And then the last one is The Shining.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it.
Do you want to hear the
that's
top 10 songs for when this came out?
Yes.
Okay. So it's July 1980. Number 10, The Pure Prairie League, Let Me Love You Tonight. This is yacht rock.
I love yacht rock. I'm into it. Where's my
Number
captain's
9,
hat?
Number 9, Jermaine Jackson, Let's Get Serious.
Oh, I know that one. Okay.
Yes. Number 8, here's one for you. Bette Midler, The Rose.
Oh my God, you couldn't get away
Some
from
say
it.
love.
It is a flower.
I went to a wedding where the family had a tradition that somebody perform a song for every wedding. Like somebody in the family has to, I know. And this poor girl there were two of them. There were two songs. The wedding was long enough as it was, but the brothers did a song. And then this one poor girl sang The Rose, and she was run out of breath by the end because she was so nervous.
Oh
So it's
my
like,
God.
some say love. Oh, it was painful. Anyway, moving on. Number 7, Olivia Newton-John, Magic. One
Love
of the
that
best
song.
songs ever.
So good.
Number 6, Steal Away by Robbie Dupree. One of my favorite songs.
Love that. That is total yacht rock.
Legitimate song. Number 5, The Manhattans, Shining Star.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's a good song. Number 4, The Spinners, Cupid.
Cupid, pull back your bow.
Whoa. Number 3, Little Genie by Elton John.
That's a good song.
Good song. Number 2, Paul McCartney, Coming Up Like a Flower. Love that song. And then number 1, my mom's favorite Billy Joel song. It's Still Rock and Roll to Me.
I loved Billy Joel.
Yep.
I used to love
that.
Billy
Was
Joel.
it. Glass Houses was a really good album.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Concur. What else are you dorking out about, my friend?
So Anna Kendrick directed a movie on Netflix called Woman of the Hour. Did you see it?
On my list.
I watched it last night. I wish you saw it. I should have nudged you to see it. I really loved it.
Ooh.
I super loved it. It's a thriller, you guys. It's a horror movie, and it's based on, I love this. It's based on a real story.
Yeah,
and
I heard the story.
The guy was the dating game killer, Rodney Alcala, and he went on the dating game. It was a show that was on in the 70s, and it's bachelors and bachelorettes, and basically you answer questions and then you go on a date. And it's a lot of things like, we're making whoopee, and where do you like to do this?
Like the Newlywed Game,
cheesy.
And then we have like Love Connection.
Yeah, it was a precursor to Love Connection.
Yeah.
So he went on there, and he was the bachelor picked, and it turns out he was a killer of women and a serial killer, basically. And Anna Kendrick directed this movie, and she did a really good job. And she goes back and forth in time with Rodney, and then she plays a character who's an actress who's kind of down on her luck. She's she's not had a lot of auditions, and she basically is tricked by her agent to do this show to kind of help her pay her rent. Like, so she gets her on this game show, and it's so clear, like the sexism. It takes place in like 1977, I want to say.
Yeah.
So the way that she's spoken to and treated, like we're talking about women once again. Yeah. But the point is, that's her whole point. Is like, just women were meant to just be talked at.
Yes.
Not to. And I don't want to give it away, but I thought it was really well done. I'm psyched to see like what else she wants to direct in the future. And I think she was really great in the part. And the guy who played Rodney Alcala was really good too. And I'm sorry I didn't write down his name, but it's called Woman of the Hour. It's on Netflix. You should see it.
I will. I'll watch it tonight. I'll report back.
And then
I like her very much. So
me too. And then I'm into Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
That's so good.
And I told y'all, Bronwyn is a star.
She is a star.
I called this from the beginning. She's more than just fashions. She's more than just some rich bitch in Salt Lake City.
Yep.
Her storyline is she's married to a man who's like 26 years older than her. He invented the Palm Pilot, or he was the CEO of a Palm Pilot company. That's where their money comes from. You don't remember, if you're really young, Palm Pilots were like the precursor to phones.
Correct.
And they were a big deal. They were a game changer, as they say. Were. And so anyway, she's married to this man, but she has a daughter who's 18, and it's from a previous relationship when she was in college, and she's a Mormon. Or was a Mormon, and she had sex. You're not supposed to have sex outside of marriage, and that's why they get married so young. But she had sex with this guy. She became pregnant, and then she and him went to his parents, her parents, and his parents basically called her a slut and said she ruined his life.
Yeah, it's all her fault. All her fault.
All her fault, and they have nothing to do with the daughter.
Yeah.
And then so she raises this daughter on her own.
Yeah.
And probably with her parents, but still, like, she had no help from the father. And then he dies. We don't know why, but he dies a couple of years later.
He dies so the daughter,
very young. So Gwen is the daughter, and Gwen never knew him, obviously, but never met his family. And the whole time, his family has avoided being in touch with her. And then one of her cast members, Lisa, hi, baby gorgeous. Hi. She is friends with them. And so she's sort of this intermediary, and she says, hey, I know Bronwyn. She's my friend. And do you want to meet her daughter, Gwen, your granddaughter? And they're hemming and hawing, and they basically put the word out like, we'll meet with her, but only if she's really ready to meet with us.
Like, meaning, on our terms?
On our terms.
Yeah.
Right. Like, you can't yell at us. You can't be mad at us. That's what they mean when they say that.
That's not how that works.
And that 18-year-old is so wise, and so much more mature than I am, but says, like, I'm not happy with their response. I have to think about it. But she says, I also need to keep in mind that this may be my one chance with them. So I may have to eat a little, like, bit of a shit sandwich to deal with these people. And then Bronwyn makes the case of, like, it's her life and she has every right to do it. She goes, but I would be a little upset if she became really close to them. That would kind of hurt because they were never there.
Yeah. Well, and I would be curious, are they down to meet her now because of the show?
That's what people are wondering. Is it because of the show, or is it because it's just time because she is 18 now? And I don't know.
To me, my gut instinct was, they don't want to look like assholes on the show.
Right. Exactly.
So we'll meet with you, but you need to be nice to us and say nice things.
Yeah, which is really messed up.
Yeah, super. That's not how you start any kind of relationship with someone.
You don't build a relationship that way. If the first rule is like, you can't have your real emotions around me because I don't want to deal with them.
Well, it sounds like not much has changed for them.
Right, exactly. So anyway, the show is great. Mary was great. There's a woman that's dating an Osmond and very, like, delisted Osmond, and he's terrible.
He's terrible.
And she's one of those people that, like, whoever they're dating, they think it's so interesting, their situation, that they talk about it with you every time.
She just wants to be chosen.
He doesn't,
so bad.
He doesn't call me. He doesn't buy me presents. He won't hold my hand in public. Or if he sees an attractive woman, he'll drop my hand that he's holding. He won't tell his family. Like, he's one of those people, like, they're telling you, like, they're dating someone really messed up and terrible.
Yes.
And no matter what you say, they're never okay. Like, they're just going to do what they're going to do.
Yeah.
And I find those people exhausting, and I just avoid them now.
Yeah. No, he is one of those people that, it's interesting that he just wants to fuck her. He has no interest in having a relationship with her. Again, he does all the things that Margo just listed. And then the second she, like, kind of pushed back, which she didn't really push back, Lisa took her phone and, like, texted him, like,
and called him an asshole, which is what I did once to your ex, but it wasn't your phone. It was my phone. But I did the same thing because I'm a good friend.
Yeah, she went out of town and she didn't acknowledge him, respond to him. Lisa sent him something, called him an asshole. And the second she was like, hey, maybe I'm not interested in you, he was like, what? How dare you? How dare you?
Well,
and our relationship without, like, considering my feelings, blah, blah. It's like, fuck this guy.
Yeah, he's terrible. There's nothing
terrible.
there. There's no
No.
there, and there's no way you can convince her of that because
No.
also because Heather very rightly says like because it's the patriarchy and
Yeah.
it's our culture. You have to be married. You cannot go to heaven if you're unmarried.
Yeah.
Which
she wants
is
to be picked.
fucked up.
She wants to be picked so bad. Like it's really sad to watch. It's very triggering actually to watch.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, but Mary is killing it. She is so entertaining to me. When Mary Crosby decides to participate,
oh, she's
golden. She is so funny to me. Like Mary going to like a dance class, I was like, this is great. The fact that Mary is obsessed with zip lines, of course she is. Why wouldn't she?
I was like, what was Mary doing there? She was like, oh, that was fun. Thank you. And then she's like, oh, I do it all the time. Really? I had no idea. That and when this what's her face is what's her name that's dating the D-list Brittany. Says to Brittany, like, are you just gonna complain about this guy over again? Because I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
And then Brittany has like, well, I won't talk about it around you. She's like, good, thank you.
Yeah, good, fine.
Which is like, yeah, which is what I want to say to people. Like, no, I don't want to fucking talk about it.
Oh my God, there's nothing worse than your friend who's going out with an asshole and you're like, he's an asshole. Like, and then
they just go on and on, like, oh, but my birthday, he did this. I'm like, you like his dick. Okay.
Yeah.
I get that. You're lonely and you like his dick. You're dickmatized. You're lonely, maybe you're broke and you're dickmatized, but you could do something else with your life. I mean, come on.
The things women will say to themselves to convince themselves that the relationship is worthwhile is happening on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, and it's happening on Love is Blind too. So if any of you watching that, you'll know like the things these women will say to themselves to make it make sense to them.
To men that are like, when they're asked the same questions, they're like, derp, I don't know.
Duh.
If I have sex and dinner, I'm great. More cavemen.
More caveman. Old caveman Lou. Anything else on your list?
No, that's it.
Okay. I am watching Love is Blind. It's all the episodes have come out except for the next week's will be the wedding episodes, and I think like maybe one of them is going to get married. The other ones I was like they're probably going to break up. One of the couples is Ashley and Tyler. Tyler has children that he didn't tell her about, and then when he told her, he lies and says that he's just a sperm donor and that these kids don't even know him or what he even looks like. But his baby mama has come out with all the receipts online of him. I don't know how he thinks he's going to get away with that kind of lie. Apparently,
also it's like, what kind of? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but let me just say, if you went out with somebody and he said, "Yeah, I've got kids, but I've never seen them and I have nothing to do with them," would that appeal to you or not? Because I be fucking asshole.
Yeah, he puts it in a way he tells her, I have these like gay friends who are married and they wanted a baby. And so I donated my sperm, but I'm not involved. And he made it sound like, hey, I did this solid for my friend. But I'm not involved or whatever. And I was like, but it's your friend. Are you not involved with your friend?
You don't have anything to do with the kid at all?
Like,
I get it. You don't want a parent, but like, you're not even interested?
See, but the truth, that's not even, the thing is, it's not even the truth. And it's like, but for her, she was like, I need to pray on it. And I'm like, oh boy. And she's just like, it's not my favorite thing, but as long as you're being upfront with me and no more cats come out of the bag, then we're good. And I'm like, what's sad is before this lie was revealed, because we all know now, because we could go on social media, Netflix hasn't told us shit, by the way. Netflix just wants us to take it at face value, what he's saying is true. The truth is on social media and all the podcasts that these people go on. So like now we know that he owes a bunch of child support. Like this is not a sperm donor situation. He was a parent in their lives, but he like scrubbed his social media of all of his children and went on a dating show. And I'm like, you're going to get caught, asshole. What are you doing? I don't understand this lie. Like, it makes no sense to me why you would do that. Why do you go on TV and try to trick someone into marrying you and you think it's going to work? It boggles my fucking mind. We also have two people on the show, Hannah and Nick, who are in their 20s. And I was like, no one in their 20s should be on Love is Blind. They need to set an age requirement because they haven't been dating long enough to be doing this. And like, she is so mean to him. Like, he's a man child for sure. Like, he's 28. He lives with his parents. He doesn't even know how to boil water to make pasta. He's a baby. But like,
no, thank you.
No, but she's also like super mean. Like, everything out of her mouth is so mean to him. And she's like, I'm just a straight shooter. I'm just a very good communicator. And I was like, that's not communicating. You're actually just being really mean.
Yeah.
Like, they're both they're wrong for each other. It's super awful. And then we have, what's the other couple? Not the other. Oh, the other one is this man who's like, I'm super progressive. Like, fuck the patriarchy, blah, blah, blah. And he is engaged to a woman who used to be in the military. And he's like, but if you get in the reserves now, like, I can't marry you. And you need to disavow all the things you did in the military and all of this stuff. And she's like, but I'm proud of my service. And like, he doesn't want her to even be proud of her service. And
no, fuck him.
I know. And then his whole thing about I'm super progressive, fuck the patriarchy, blah, blah, blah. She was like, all right, I don't want to get pregnant, dude. And I don't want to get on birth control because it makes me really, really sick. So you need to wear a condom. And he's like, no, you're going to ruin it. Like, he won't wear a condom. It's like, no, you need to take care of it, lady. Like, he's all about fuck the patriarchy until it has to do with his pleasure. And he also gave her a bunch of shit because she like had her period and wasn't feeling well and she didn't want to fuck him. And he's like, well, if this is how it's going to be, I don't think we should get married. And it's like, she doesn't want you to fuck her when she's sick. And now he's like, I don't know if we should get married. And I'm like, what an asshole. He's 100% one of those dudes that will cheat on her if she got cancer. He would cheat on her. He's one of those dudes. And she calls him out. She says that. And she's like, would you be one of those guys? And he's like, he didn't really answer her. And I'm like, ugh, gross. And I was like, Love is Blind producers, please do some fucking background checks and some psychological testing before you put these people on this show.
Who are these people?
Who are these people? Setting them up to fail. Also, it's so good. And I love watching those. It's such trash. I also wanted to tell everyone Elsbeth is back.
Is it?
It's back. And Nathan Lane is in the season premiere. And this isn't a spoiler because they tell you everything, what happens in the first 5 minutes. But like, he's basically someone who super loves the opera. And there's someone at the opera that is like the worst person you've ever met at the movie theater. The person that like takes phone calls and talks and makes out and takes pictures and all the stuff. And they say things don't go well for him. But it's so fun when Nathan Lane plays characters of questionable morality. I love him. I wish he was a regular on the show, but that's not how it's going to be. But I love Elsbeth. It's back on CBS. There's also a new episode of Matlock, which I also love.
Tonight.
Kathy Bates is so great in it, and
that premiere was amazing.
It's so good.
Yeah.
My favorite rom-com of the year is the 11-minute video of Chicken Shop Date with Amelia Oldenburg. Do you ever watch Chicken Shop Date?
No, I don't know what that is.
Okay, it's this comedian journalist named Amelia Oldenburg. That's her name. And her thing is like, she invites people on a date. They're dating, quote unquote, and she asks them questions. It's kind of like Hot Ones. Do you ever watch Hot Ones where they eat the
I know what it is,
wings?
but yeah.
Okay. And they go on a date to a chicken shop and like they eat chicken nuggets and fries, and she asks them questions. And the videos are real short. They're like 10 minutes. And she's had like Sabrina Carpenter on, and who like Paul Mescal was on, stuff like that. Anyway, she has done a bunch of red carpets over the years, and she keeps running into Andrew Garfield, Amazing Spider-Man. He's out promoting his movie right now, We Live in Time. And they've had these really cute, like, little conversations on the red carpet, and they're flirty and totally vibing and all that. And he recently broke up with his girlfriend, and now he went on chicken shop date. And I was like, are they in love? It's so flirty. It's so cute. I'm like, it almost made me want to go on dates again, but I won't because but they're really, really cute. And the videos she has a channel on TikTok, and it's called like Chicken Shop Date. And the one with her and Andrew Garfield, it's super, super cute. And if you want to go back and watch the one with Paul Mescal, it's also really cute. I think she's really funny. She's very deadpan. And I don't know, she makes these guys really nervous, and it's hilarious. So it's turning into my favorite rom-com. And then I just watched for the first time Dr. Sleep. Have you seen Dr. Sleep?
Oh, of course I have. What did you think of it?
It totally wrecked me, made me cry.
Aw.
But I thought it was really, really good. And I had recently just watched The Shining, and so I thought it was time to watch Dr. Sleep. And recently, Patrick Bromley on F This Movie was talking about it, and he said that, what did he say? He said The Shining is a masterpiece, and Dr. Sleep is a miracle. Like, it's like a miracle movie that it works. Like, it's almost like it shouldn't work, but it works. And Dr. Sleep is so good.
Yeah.
It is so good. And Ewan McGregor is so good. And Rebecca Ferguson was Rose the Hat. So creepy. There's scenes in it that are really upsetting. Jacob Tremblay from Room plays a boy that plays baseball that they pick up, and they, really, really hurt him. Let's just say that. And it's so upsetting how they get their power or how they feed. It was really disturbing. I was like not prepared for that. But it's really good. And it's almost like Michael Flanagan knows what he's doing. So,
and Kate Siegel's in it, right?
I think she has a smaller part in it. She's in all of his stuff, right?
Yeah, because I saw there was I posted in the What a Creep group. There was a scary call to action. It was for Kamala Harris, but it was a bunch of horror people. And basically they just talked about horror stuff. And then they were like, yeah, if you want, you should probably vote for, and I'm not saying that, but if you're the two of them were they all said Stephen King and Joe Hill were there. And they had the guy that created Chucky, and they had the woman who created Megan. Like, they had really cool people. And then they had Mike and Katie, and they're so cute together.
They're so cute. I follow them on social.
They're such a great couple. You could tell they're like really connected, and they really dig each other. And anyway, that was really fun.
They're one of a movie that she co-wrote with him and he directed called Hush is now on Shudder as well. And she plays a deaf person who lives in a house in the middle of the woods, and it's like a home invasion situation, and it's her like defending herself from a home invader. She's so good in it, and it's really, really good. It's such a good movie. And I was like, Mike Flanagan, again, he knows what he's doing. The Fall of the House of Usher, Midnight Mass, House on Haunted Hill, like all those Netflix series. He's so fucking good. And I should have known that Dr. Sleep would be really good. I just put it off for so long because I heard that it might be upsetting. It is upsetting, but I think it's definitely worth the watch. And I was glad that I finally took the time to watch it. So I watched that, not Woman of the Hour, and now I will watch Woman of the Hour. It's your recommendation because that sounds awesome. Awesome. And that's everything on my list. So thanks for talking about Prom Night with me.
I'm gonna be. I've got "Born to Be Alive" now stuck in my head.
Born to be
Be
alive.
alive, born to be alive.
If you like the sound of our voices, including our singing voices, we co-host a podcast called What a Creep, where we talk about creeps of the past, of the present. Our most recent episode out right now is about the Salem witch trials that Margo
I sang in
led. Yeah, and it's a really good one. It's definitely for spooky season, so check it out. If you like this show, please leave us a review. It helps us find our people. Give us a few stars on Spotify or Apple or wherever you listen. We appreciate that. You can email us at dorkingoutShow@gmail.com. And if you give us your address, we'll send you some stickers. They're so cute. You can also find it at Dorking Out Show on Twitter and Threads and Instagram and all the places. My friend, where can they find you?
You can find me at brooklynfitchick.com. I'm also at Brooklyn Fit Chick for Threads and Instagram, and I'm at Brooklyn Margo for TikTok and Twitter, as long as that exists. Which is probably not going to. I don't know how much longer I'll deal with that, to be honest with you. It's I
go back and forth on that. Part of me is like, fuck this place, and I just want to like deactivate my account and leave. And then other parts of me are like, no, I will stay here till the bitter end.
I'm the same way. Yeah. I don't know if to cut and run or what I'm going to do, but anyway.
You know what I do? I block everyone who advertises on Twitter.
Well, you know what though? But it's so fucking stupid because I got the alert yesterday. I don't know if you saw this, but Elon is now, they have block, but the deal is you can block someone, but they can still see everything that you're posting. So they technically can't tag you, but they could like take a picture of your tweets and then and shit. And it's just him being and he's also like bribing people $100 to sign a petition and vote. And it's just so fucking gross.
So gross.
And the algorithm is just really bringing up the shittiest people.
And the whole thing about removing the block, it just makes it easier for like stalkers to find their people that they want to stalk and harm.
And they
harass
just
people.
Harass people. And it's just, I'm sorry. The world's messed up.
So messed up. Well, you can find me on Twitter at The Sonia Show. I'm also at thesoniashow.com and The Sonia Show on Instagram.